Module 3, and it's all about competency and excellence. And in Course 1, we're looking at time management. Well, before we get started with God's time management, ask yourself this following question. How are you maximizing your day within the optometric practice? Are you dedicating specific time to key areas of importance within your practice? Or is you take it day by day and you are focusing mainly on your patients, your admin, and there is not necessarily a particular structure that you have in place? And so in this particular course, we're just going to break down key areas within your day that you can improve on with immediate effect. And it's not going to cost you much. It's just going to cost you time that you're supposed to be dedicating towards specific tasks. What we have noticed in our experience with working with hundreds and hundreds of optometric practices all over the world is that there is no clear plan of action when it comes to activities that take place within the optometric practice. And so what we have as a recommendation in terms of what your optometric practice can do to improve its current way of doing things is break your activities into different weeks. Schedule time for specific activities on a weekly basis. What do we mean by that? Well, week 1, you can actually dedicate week 1 as your vision week. What do we mean by that? In your vision week, this is what you should be relaying, or this is what the team should be discussing. The vision of the business and that of the optometric leadership team. Values that govern everything that you and the team do together. Why do you do what you do? What the business does should be discussed and trained upon. And how the business does it should be a key focus area within the team. And most importantly, you need to understand that the whole focus point of focusing on the vision is that you want to connect the business and the people in it together. Because once the people that are working in your practice are connected with what you're trying to build, why you're building it, what the vision behind the company is, they get a better understanding of what their role is, how they contribute to that vision, and what is it that they bring to the table. Is the vision that your company has in line with something that they can draw towards and not draw away from? So vision is very, very important, that you focus on what it is that you guys are doing, why you have such a vision, the impact that the vision will have in the community that you are serving once it is achieved, and what are the key components involved in that particular vision. So anything related to your vision should be what you focus on in week 1. Week 2, we refer to it as the people week. And in the people week, this is the following things that you need to be focusing on: talent management, personnel development, communication improvement, culture learning, and of course, skills development. So you're making week 2 all about the people and not the business. So don't be focused on what the business wants from its people. Focus on making sure that you are identifying who are the catalysts, who is better at doing certain tasks as compared to other team members. So you're developing your team, you're providing them with resources that upskill them, you are training them in moving them from where they are to the level that they have got the potential of being. And so looking at things like communication, understanding that amongst the team, if the team don't understand how to communicate with one another, it can affect how the team communicates with the various consumers that come to the practice. And so as a team, it's very, very important that you understand that if there's 5 of you representing different cultures, different backgrounds, you need to understand how best to communicate with one another. What brings out the most or the best out of certain individuals as a result of communication? How do we improve our communication? What makes this individual mad? What makes them glad? What makes them sad? And what makes them come alive? And so you're looking at, are there any barriers in communication that exist amongst the team so that we can overcome that? You're looking at learning one another's cultures, learning different communication styles that the different team members prone towards. And so week 2, it's all about that development of the team, looking at their talents, looking at how do they become catalysts, how can we harness those key components that they are demonstrating to make sure that they get better at it. Looking at competency, looking at excellence, looking at various key components of leadership and people development is what you then focus on in week 2. Week 3, it's then staff week, staff meeting, staff training. What do you do during this week? Well, it's very simple. You look at the roles and responsibilities of each and every single staff member in relation to the business objectives. And so in week 3, the focus then, it's about the business. The standard operating procedures that the business is focused on, that the people are needing to understand and be competent in. The processes, the service delivery excellence that you have to be upholding at all times within the practice. And of course, understanding the different types of challenges and problems that may arise, and what is the standard that the practice is setting in order to overcome those challenges, in order to overcome those problems that may arise. And so that week 3, it's all about the practice. It's all about the business objectives. And you have to schedule time for that week to know that this is what we're focusing on this week. Week 4, it's the sales week. And this is very, very important. In the sales week then, you're discussing things like pricing and quotations across your wide range of products, services, and solutions that you're offering to the consumers. You're looking at the impact of sales to the business, where to establish and grow sales leads, when to make key sales decisions, and the numbers. So you need to take your team in a journey in terms of how sales work, what this activity does to the sales. Does it impact it in a positive or a negative manner? Why do we have to sell these products at that particular price? What happens when we are selling this product multiple times every single week? How will that impact the sales at the end of the day? What are the revenue targets that you have set in place? And what is it that the team needs to do to achieve those set targets? And so you focus in purely on sales, ensuring that every team member on your team is well equipped to handle sales challenges or opportunities that may present itself. Are they in a position to identify key sales opportunities or leads that they can be confident in and competent in, that when a patient comes into the practice needing eye care related services, the staff member is in a position to walk them through that entire sales journey of a consumer to the point whereby they can close a deal. Looking at discussing things like medical insurance, when there's a shortfall on the pair of spectacles that has been prescribed and the person now needs to be paying over and above what their medical insurance is going to be paying. Is your team well trained, well equipped on handling those challenges that may arise as a result of shortfalls on the payments that need to be taking place? And so week 4, you're just purely focusing on the sales, ensuring that each and every one of your team members is well trained when it comes to sales, numbers, pricing, quotations. This is something that you have to schedule time for every time you are focusing on the sales week. And then week 5, that's the product week. In this week, you're then having to focus on frames, ensuring that every one of your staff members is well equipped and well trained with regards to all the different product ranges that exist in the practice, from the frames to the spectacle lenses, to the contact lenses, to the solutions, to the diagnostic procedures that are over and above the eye examination. Them understanding what are the different solutions, services, and products that we are rendering and offering or providing to the wide range of consumers that come to the practice. And so product knowledge across all the different types of products that the practice renders or has is very, very important. And how do you go about implementing this in a practical manner within the practice? You have to then, if you've got a practice manager in the practice, you need the buy-in of the practice manager first. The practice manager needs to contribute towards the planning of this type of structure. You and the practice team or the most senior team having to put this down in a planner. You say, okay guys, we're in the middle of July or August, whenever you're starting this. You then say, okay, first week, in the vision week, this is what we're going to be talking about. This is me as the business owner. This is the vision that I have. And you're sharing it with your most senior people first to get their buy-in. Post that, the time then you bring it to the team in terms of the plan of action that's going to take place, you already have the buy-in of key role players who are behind you with regards this type of activity planning. And so you make sure that you then allocate certain responsibilities to your most senior individuals first in the first 5 weeks, making sure that in the week 1 with the vision, you as the business leader are focusing on that. Week 2, you again as the business leader are focusing on that. Week 3, you then getting, when we're talking about now the staff requirements and the business requirements, you're getting your practice manager or the most senior optometrist to be the one who champions and steers this week. Week 4, sales. You can then either you doing it or you getting the suppliers with regards the product that you guys are selling to come in and teach you guys about that. That is also something that you can then do on week 5. But you must make sure that in that 5 week, you have got a clear plan of action. You have given your staff members a clear schedule in terms of, guys, going forward, this is how we're going to work. And there will be times whereby they will be needing to come in a bit earlier if need be, or during the course of your day, you scheduling that 1 hour or 2 hours where you are implementing this type of approach. If you are in a very busy practice where you don't have the luxury of time and you cannot do it during the working hours, but you can schedule time beforehand or on weekends, you just need to make a plan in terms of when will it be best for you to sit down with the team and share this. There are times though, in week 1, for example, there'll be a day where you've got the whole team together. Then there'll be times where you've got a few individuals together. But the main focus point should be what is taking place in that week. As the week progresses, you might have the main big time that you have allocated for discussing everything and getting the input of everyone and ensuring that everyone understands what the focus is on. Then throughout the week, you're giving smaller or shorter time frames that you are then focusing on that particular week's activities. And whenever you're taking out the agenda, make sure that you're giving people specific tasks that they need to be preparing for in order to come into that week with having given people the necessary information that they need, so that the engagement process that's going to be taking place in that week, it's fair and everyone has equal opportunity to be engaged and discuss the various components involved with whatever that week is all about. So for example, when you're doing product week, don't bombard your staff members with a lot of information. Simply then choose your premium products first or your generic products and you're focusing on that. After the 5-week cycle, when you're back at that particular one day, then you're doing that one again. But you have to schedule time where it's specific that, okay guys, this first 5 weeks, this is what we're going to be doing. In the sales week, we're going to be focusing on this component of the sales. In the product week, we're going to be focusing on this component of the product week. And make sure that you are rotating the responsibilities every 5 weeks. So if you give a task to a particular individual, the first 2 times, the third time, change it and let someone else be responsible for driving that week and making sure that everyone is on the same page with regards what is expected of them for that week. And that's how you make sure that you're keeping your team in check, you're keeping your team tuned in to that which will add the most value to your practice. I have noticed in the lots of practices that, or in the multitudes of practices that we work with, practices that are the most busiest, who are doing far above what most optometric practices are doing, who are operating at the top of their game, one of the key things that they prioritize in their businesses is training and development of their teams, because they have a firm understanding that it is the team that makes everything work and not just the amazing products, the great service delivery and the pricing or the experience of the optometrist. It's literally ensuring that they've got the buy-in of the team, because you want to get into a situation where you understand who are your catalysts, who are your influencers, who are your key role players, who is more competent when it comes to sales and numbers, and who is more competent when it comes to product knowledge. And that each week time you're doing this on that particular week, you are rotating the leadership with regards to who is responsible for that week, and you are getting everyone to the same page. And so that's basically the approach when it comes to what you can do now with your time. Understanding that you can be busy with a lot of activities that have got absolutely nothing to do with adding value to your practice. And your team can get into a routine that is just they're showing up at work again. It's just another day at the office. But they're not literally contributing anything positive in your business that will add value to the growth of your practice. And so these improvement opportunities that we have identified in terms of breaking down your training, breaking down your meetings, breaking down your activity planning in various weeks, and you keep a file, a standard operating procedures file that has got all this information, so that if you're doing something in that particular week and a staff member is on leave, or a staff member is ill and at home or can't make it, the activities must still carry on, but you know that you've put everything in the file. And when you see that, wait a minute, but we did talk about this, but this individual is not getting to the level that we need him or her to be, you can always go back to the file and make sure that was there any component of that activity that was missed that you need to retrain again. And so it's very, very important that you make this a continuous process in the business. Other practices that we have implemented this with, they schedule time whereby they will have an hour, specific time, an hour that they dedicate to the practice. And once a quarter, they'll have a 1-day workshop or a 2-day workshop where post working hours, where they're literally developing the team. This whole thing is a matter of, are you willing to sacrifice for the first 12 months of your practice time for training and development, so that the next 5 years you've got a team that is well equipped to take your business to the next level. That's what it's all about. And so when you look at 3 key areas that influence time: 1, vision; 2, communication; and 3, leadership. Those 3 components influence how time is allocated within the optometric practice. Starting off with vision. Have a clear purpose of what it is that your practice represents or stands for, and what it is that it's trying to build. And you need to make sure that the purpose fits into the activities that are prioritized in the business. And your team has got your back. Your team is fully engaged and in agreement with regards to the vision. Do they understand the vision? Do they understand what it takes for that vision to come to pass? Do they understand their roles and responsibilities? And so from the team, they have to understand that they have to take ownership of certain components of the vision, that it's not your vision. Because what you want to communicate with your team in order to connect with your team. And once you connected with your team, your vision becomes their aspiration. That's the ultimate goal in an optometric practice, whereby your team is just as passionate, just as excited, just as enthusiastic as you are on your own vision, as if it was their own vision. And so make sure that when you're delegating responsibilities to your team, you're delegating in a manner that you have trained them, you have equipped them, you have provided them with the necessary knowledge, skills, and resources for them to take ownership of a particular task that is important for the business. And so when you prioritize it, make sure that you're prioritizing in relation to the goals and objectives that are set, and that the tasks that you're giving into individual members, that people take responsibility and ownership of that. And whatever that you do, how does it reflect back to the vision? And so what is your vision pertaining, what is your overall vision for the business? What is your overall vision pertaining to your presbyopic patients? What is your overall vision pertaining to your contact lenses wearers? So break down the vision that you have pertaining to the different components of your business in terms of, for millennials, this is what we're achieving. This is what we want to achieve as a business. For baby boomers, this is what we want to achieve. This is how we're structuring our approach to that particular group. And so it's very important that you keep vision in front of the people's eyes all the time. You speak vision. You're showcasing different components that the vision has. You're constantly speaking it. They're constantly seeing it from you. And you're constantly engaging them on the vision. Here's a quick tip. The easiest way to get your team to be buying into your vision is if you also understand what their vision is, their personal vision, so that some staff members are not going to be with you for a long time. So you want to create an environment in your business that unlocks the full potential of your team, equips them, trains them, where they become professionally competent. And if it means that they end up leaving your business, so be it. The advantage is that you would have created a standard in your practice that will always be there, irrespective of the individuals that are working for you. Because whoever then comes in at that standard. Next, communication. Decision making. Are you the only one who makes decisions in the practice? If that is the case, there's a challenge with regards how you are communicating and engaging with your team. Your job as a leader is to raise up other leaders. Your job as a leader is to be influential towards how people view you as their leader and view the business as their place where they grow, learn new things, and they want to be in that place. And so make sure that you've got a team that you are building with, that certain decisions you are allowing your team to be making, and you are just providing the overall decision making, but they have to have some form of decision making that they have. And so what are the objectives and challenges of various components pertaining to service delivery, patient communication, and so forth, that when a staff member is encountering a particular problem, they're in a position to know that, okay, this problem fits well within what I'm capable and able to handle, and this is the decisions that I'll make. And so train your people to make decisions that will be representative of what you would do if you were in that same situation. Very, very important that you've got an understanding of problem solving. So part of dedicating your time, allocating your time effectively, is making sure that you spend a lot of time detailing the different types of problems that may arise in an optometric practice and how people need to navigate those particular problems and who are the people responsible whenever problems arise. You want to a situation whereby people take ownership of their tasks and their responsibilities within the practice and have big objectives, big plans, but at the same time have smaller implementation steps that you are able to follow and track. And the only way that you can make sure that everyone is on the same page is if communication is constantly trained upon. So you need to allocate time on a communication. Communication in terms of your disc personalities. You've got your dominance individual, your influencer, your steadiness personality, as well as your other personality. So it's basically your disc personalities, right? Your analytical individual is the fourth one. So you want to make sure that you communicating with your team in the manner in which you understand one another. They understand you, you understand them. They understand where they are wrong. They understand how their actions impact the business and so forth. And so communication is very, very important because the internal communication that takes place influences the external communication that your team has with the general public or with the consumers that they get to see. And lastly, it is leadership. Make sure that you guys have shared values, understanding the cultures that your practice is representing. Understand what are the principles that govern the different activities that you guys do, and what are the organizational protocols that you guys have established, and it has to be something that is written down somewhere. What are the standards of excellence that the practice should be held accountable for? And what is your mission statement as a practice? So these different components influence the leadership style that will exist within your practice. And so vision, communication, and leadership are critical with regards how your team allocates time for specific activities. And they will be in a position to know that, okay, this is the stuff that we need to do more of. This is what we need to do less of. This is what we need to be creating. And this is what we completely need to stop doing. And once you start doing that, you find that your time allocation would start to improve. Your time management will start to improve, and you'll become more effective with regards the day-to-day activities within the practice. You will see things from a different perspective. You will achieve things far quicker than when you were just going week after week after week without having a clear plan of action in terms of, guys, are we allocating our time to that which adds the most value to our business, which is very, very important.